Yay! Hello and welcome to the She Buys It podcast. I'm so excited. Kendra Ellis is with me again today, and y'all have heard her before on our podcast. You know her from First Built and Fast. She just joined Private Money Profits, so this lady is doing lots of amazing, wonderful things. And I wanted to bring Kendra back on because in FTDF Plus a couple weeks ago, we had a couple questions about mobile homes versus modulars versus trailers versus RVs. So we've been having this discussion, and Kendra is an expert. Her very first deal was on a mobile home or a trailer?
It was a mobile home.
A mobile home. She's got way more experience in this world than I do. So I wanted to bring her on and pick her brain a little bit. And then we thought, well, duh, we'll tell everybody what we got going on. And so everybody can learn. So y'all, Kendra is here with me. She is absolutely fantastic. She does the marketing update for me at the Knox REIA, and she manages to do a lot of great and wonderful things and still make, $100,000 every couple deals or so. I love it. I love it. So Kendra, tell me what are the basics that I need to know about modulars and mobiles and trailers and RVs? Like what is the difference?
Yes. Okay. So trailer is kind of like just a nickname, what everyone calls it. But your mobile home, can you hook it to your trailer or a semi and take it with you? So it basically, modular versus mobile, does it still have the original frame that it came from the dealership still there? So if you look at a mobile home, you'll be able to, whether it's a single wide, so single wide is just one trailer, a double wide is two trailers put together on site. So if it still has the frame, which is like the point where it has the hitch where they've connected it to the semi, take it off, that is when it's a mobile home. So there's lots of different ways. There's actually modular construction. Like modular it is halfway built on site, delivered to the property, and then taken off the frame and assembled on site on a permanent foundation, or it's like the right blocking and strapping. So that's really important when you look at the foundation of a mobile home, or a modular home. And we've even asked that we've been toward the Clayton facility. And if none of you guys are from the Knoxville area, I'm sure you've heard of Clayton Homes, but what is really cool is actually started in Knoxville. And it is one of the largest manufacturers for modular homes in the US. So we are very lucky to have that in our area, but that also means that we see a lot of those in our area because this is where it all started. So when you're looking at a property, it's important to look at, once you get there, to really look at the foundation and kind of see, first of all, is it a permanent foundation? Is it like a block foundation? Is it a brick foundation? Or is it the vinyl skirting that goes all the way around? If it is the vinyl skirting, here's my husband. Hey, we're doing it. Hey, wait, really quick.
Good morning.
Come on in.
All right. So
Abby's barking.
Are you introducing me to Whitney?
Yeah.
Hey, Whitney, I'm Lee. Nice to meet you.
Have you been grocery shopping lately?
Oh, you're recording a video?
Yeah, a podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
All right.
But really, get your insight. So Lee's a general contractor, and so he deals a lot with mobile homes. So we're talking about mobile homes. So tell them the difference about the strapping, the blocking of the permanent foundation, and what to look for when you're in the crawl space.
So yeah, for a mobile home to qualify or for a lot of loans, it needs to be on a permanent foundation. And so permanent foundation includes these metal straps that go from the steel I-beams underneath. They got to be connected to a pin that's sunk in the ground like an anchor. In addition, it also has to have a wall around the perimeter, some kind of a durable wall. This is how it was explained to me. So it could be either like a block wall, or it could be framed up. It can't be with plywood or something. It has to be with some sort of masonry or some sort of faux type, anything that's durable. That's typically what you have to look for.
So can you take a mobile home and put it on a permanent foundation and pull the guts out of it and then it's a modular, or is it in the way it's built?
A modular is the original frame still there. So then
I would imagine if you pulled the guts out of it, as long as it was attached securely to a permanent foundation, that would work. But I'm not the authority on that, so I couldn't tell you with certainty.
talk to him about a structural engineer.
Structural engineer?
So
What do you want to know?
So if you're trying to get a loan on a mobile home or a modular home, if it is on a permanent foundation, that's what you should look for first. And then second, is there the right tie downs on the strapping that he was talking about? So you may have to get a structural engineer letter to come out and inspect it, or a general contractor to come out and inspect it to make sure it's got the proper support in order to get a loan on that property. So typically they can get loans on them. Vanderbilt Mortgage, which is owned by Clayton Homes, they do a lot of mortgages on mobile homes and modular homes. But also you can get regular loans through regular banks if it has the proper foundation, the proper strapping. Can you find the HUD plate and the HUD sticker? We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then also, can you, what is the other thing? Hold on.
I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not prepared for this.
You may have to get the letter. So you may have to get the structural engineer letter to make it qualify for a loan, but it is possible.
Okay, so when we talk about loans, this is a great conversation. I understand you got to make sure that it's the right category, but how do we appraise these things? Do they stack up like a stick-built house, or do we have Kelley Blue Book to look up the VIN number? How do we know what it's worth?
So you want to make sure, like as a real estate agent, mobile homes are a little bit different than modular. So even in the MLS, when you're pulling comps that are manufactured homes. That's another word that people call it. So you're looking for comparable homes that are manufactured homes, which basically means it wasn't fully built on site. And so those are the comps that you try to go off of. It doesn't really have the full comps. Like if this home, and actually this home that we're in is a modular home. It's my parents' rental house that we're in as we transition. So this is actually not comparable to the house across the street, which is a fully stick-built new build. So we can't compare the two, but we can compare this one to the one next door, which is also a Clayton home, which sold for $200,000, which is crazy. So, but he has to go on the job site.
Sorry to interrupt the podcast. See y'all.
Good to see you, Lee.
All right, likewise, Whitney. Bye-bye.
So he's got a fire to put out really quick. He just came here to eat breakfast.
Okay, so you said the modular next to you just sold for $200,000?
It wasn't sold for $200,000. Clayton did the whole thing for $200,000. So, and it is a double wide on a permanent foundation. Clayton bought the land and they did the lot prep, the foundation, and the house, and then they sold it to that person in house for $200,000. So there's a whole different way. Like you can get it when you go to the lot, like the car lot for mobile homes. They are going to charge quite a bit for this full service everything, because they are going out, finding the property, doing it all for them, and getting it prepared, ready for the buyer. They also have cross mod products, which there's one down the road from ours, that they brought it in to that main house is 2 sections, and then they brought in another trailer of stuff, which was the whole roofing system. So they're putting together this 2-story modular, I'm not gonna say modular, manufactured home that Clayton they bought the land, they did the lot prep, they did the foundation, and then brought it all, assembled it on site, and sold it to that buyer in-house with their own financing. In-house.
$200,000 though, and a cross mod and all this stuff. Like, I love learning new strategies in real estate, because I just have this perception that a modular is going to be, $35,000, and you just get a $10,000 lot and you're all in for 50 grand by the time you get it set up. I never imagined they're selling for $200,000.
Yeah, it's crazy. The cross mod product is their in-house full service, like brand new stuff that they're doing is very good quality product. So when we went to tour the facility, we were looking at building duplexes that were the cross mod product. So I took my dad and my grandfather. My grandfather owns quite a bit of mobile homes and is very familiar with the whole process, mobile homes in general. I think it's over like 100 of them, but he also is very familiar with Clayton. So when Jim Clayton started, he started in construction. So at one point they actually had the same accountant. So his construction company and Jim Clayton when they were both started. So we brought Papa and my dad is a builder and a developer. Lee didn't get to make it, but it was so cool. And actually, I want to share a picture. Can I share my screen and show a picture?
Yeah, sure.
Well, actually, I don't think I have it on. It was just one of the like coolest moments to take my dad and my grandfather, because it's, you know, how I absolutely love what I can learn from them. And that's been a cool moment that they always wanted to do that, but they weren't able to do that until I was able to connect them with that. So my dad was saying, you know, he's like, from what they're building, because it's all in a warehouse and it's all climate controlled, like it's good quality stuff. It's just they're able to do mass production, so they're getting the best prices on appliances and like doors and everything. There is a difference between modular construction and stick-built construction. So this sheetrock is thinner than regular sheetrock that's in a house. These doors are different than regular doors in a house. So do you see those cracks at the bottom? So those are, so there's like this hole. Hold on. So there's like a hole that you could stick your hand in.
Oh.
So there's a huge difference between the doors, the trim, the plumbing, the lights, the electrical, like everything's a little bit different than if you were to stick build a house. That is a fire code. So like they want this door because they want to like extra fire safety. So that's why they have those types of doors. So the paneling, this is actually paneling, and then in the rest of the house is like sheetrock. So the original, like there's different tiers that they do. So this one is like a basic tier when you'll see the paneling like this. And then, I don't know if you can see. So in there is the rest of the house is sheetrock. So there's different tiers, there's different quality. And then, so when you're renovating a mobile home versus buying a brand new one, it's completely different. So we've done the whole scale. We are living in one. This is a 2016 model. And my parents own the land. They got the lot ready. They sold it, owner financed the land to somebody, and someone else got the mortgage for this house from Clayton, and Clayton put it on the property. Then they had some problems and they ended up having to just back out of it because their health and finances and everything. So my parents paid the mortgage off. And so now they own the house and the land. And then they put us in here as rentals, as a renter, until we move into their house. We're buying their house and renovating their house. So it's been really cool because of the timing of everything, that we are looking at building this cross mod product anyways, that we're literally living in one. And living in one now, I'm thinking, okay, I don't like the paneling. I want, if I was to purchase something for the cross mod product, I want it all sheetrock, or I would upgrade this and this and this. I would always upgrade the plumbing fixtures, do sheetrock if you can. And I don't like the level quality that they put in the carpet. So if you can't afford to do an upgrade of the flooring, that is always awesome. So when you're renovating one that's an older one, it's completely different though, because you can't get these doors at Home Depot. You can't get the plumbing fixtures at Home Depot. The sheetrock you can get at Home Depot, but you have to know it's a different size. So there's a whole lot of different things that come into play for that. And we actually renovated that Deer Meadow that you came to look at. So that was a full remodel of a mobile home. It was on a permanent foundation, and we fully gutted it, and we reframed everything, opened up walls, and finished out all new sheetrock, all new flooring, all new appliances. Like everything was brand new, all new siding on the outside. We pretty much redid the whole thing, and we sold it for $150. So
I love it. I love those prices, because in my mind, that's just not where mobile homes and modulars are. I have one in Talbot, Tennessee, and it's on a permanent foundation, and they even built a basement under it and then added this whole like second wing to it. But at its core, it was a modular.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might even have the hitch still on it. I don't know. I'll have to look at it now, because I just bought it. I took it over and I paid like 80 something for it. And so in
Yeah.
my mind, 150 or 200,000 is just awesome. It's fantastic. And you mentioned the Deer Meadow. There's a Flippin' Friday video where we walk through Kendra's mobile home modular flip. And so if you want to look for that, we'll link that down below. Okay, so I have a couple questions. If a seller calls me and they say, yeah, I got this house for sale, why don't you come look at it? Sometimes when you get there, you just get this feeling that it wasn't completely built on site. It wasn't a stick-built house. It wasn't fresh from the ground up. What, and I get a feeling for that. But if you don't have that, you know, 8th sense or whatever it is that you and I have, what are some things that you can feel for, like physically feel for or look for, to be able to tell if it was built here or built partially here and put together here?
Do you want to go on a field trip?
Yeah.
And I'll show you in this house.
Okay.
Okay. So, forewarning, did not know we were going to do this, but the house is a little messy.
It's all good. This is good stuff.
So this is, I mean, it's really cute. This is it's an open concept, little kitchen, and it's got a huge island. And
holy crap, that looks like a house.
It is nice. It's really nice. So let me show you the outside. So it's 2016.
Which means it's super new.
Parents bought it for 75. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but it's really cute. So
yeah.
And then the land has this extra building on it that we use for our workshop. Okay. So what to look for? First of all, on the outside. That is the underpinning, the vinyl underpinning of the mobile home. So let's see if I even have enough internet signal to do that.
Okay, so that's not on a permanent foundation then, because that's the vinyl that you said.
Yep. So how you get under here is you pull this flap up, and then there's this, typically there you can break it right here, like pull it apart. Hold on. And slide it up. It's hard to do with one hand.
It's okay. It's okay.
But stick your hand under here, get where the seam is, and then pull it up, and then you'll be able to get inside and see it. The other thing is you want to look for the HUD plate on the outside. And I think I remember it being over here.
Dang, you got some really good internet there.
Sorry. So let's see. It's over here. It's got a nice covered back porch. Going on a field trip. Okay. Spider web. Hold on. So the HUD plate should be exposed on the outside, and this basically will tell you that this is a manufactured home, and it has the Tennessee, what state it is, that it's basically like the VIN number for the home. So this has to be shown. We got in trouble at Deer Meadow because we stuccoed the foundation. Where it was is where the HUD plate was. So we had to order a whole new one and get that put back on. So if you can't find it, it is possible to get it to work. So the other thing you want to look for, hold on.
This is fantastic.
In the kitchen. So in the kitchen, it's typically in a cabinet under. Okay, so it's typically in your sink cabinet. This special piece of paper is very important. So this is basically like the receipt for modular homes. And so it'll tell you where it was built, the date, the plant number, the HUD identification number, and like all of it's like the VIN number, VIN plate that a car has, but for your home. So hold on, I'm out of breath. Okay. So that's super important, but that's what those two things or three things: foundation, HUD plate, and then the sticker. If you don't have a sticker, like at Deer Meadow that I forgot to tell Lee that that's important. When they demoed the cabinets, it went with it. So also, it's possible of getting it again. You just have to file for the right things, get in touch with the right people, and pay like $150 to get it sent to you. And we had to wait 2 weeks of closing and delayed closing for 2 weeks. So
now, if you were going to redo that kitchen, would you just keep that one cabinet or just take the paper off and restick it on the new one?
Yeah. No, this is a really cute kitchen. Like, I really like it's got two-tone cabinets and can lights everywhere. So they did upgrades in this house. So this is an upgraded house for Clayton's product. So that's the sheetrock. Well, that's my whiteboard, but that's sheetrock instead of the paneling.
Okay, so I have this impression that on a double wide, they put it together. Is there a crack in the middle? Can you feel it when you're walking through?
Yep. So it's called your sister wall. Sister wall? So basically, here's the living room. That was one section. This was the other section. And there is the center of the house that goes all the way, that you should be able to stand in the center of it and realize that every wall right here has been put together. Sometimes you can even see the seam in the floor. So they did carpet and then they did this vinyl. So I don't know if you can see that. So a carpet vinyl, here's the seam, here's the beam. This is where the, it's either called a sister wall or a marriage wall, but that's where they've put it together, and then they finished out the flooring right here to finish the product on site. When you're renovating one, you get to, if you're redoing the flooring, you can take it all apart and make it more smoother and do the flooring all the way throughout. So that's a lot. But yeah, it's really, the other thing is find your plate, and then let's talk about detitling a property.
Okay, let's talk about it.
That's really hard to do, or it's not really hard to do. So you want to ask them, if it's a mobile home, you have this feeling, you want to find out on the tax record what it says on the tax record. Does it say single family or does it say manufactured? Then you want to be looking for that sticker. You want to look for the HUD plate. You want to make sure it's on a good foundation, or at least it's tied down properly. Then you want to ask if it's been detitled, and most of them will say, I don't know what that is. And then you say, do you have the original title to the property? So that is like the green piece of paper that you get when you have a car and you get the title for the car. That's that green piece of paper. They have one for manufactured homes. So you have to get with your title company to get extra paperwork to basically say, this is the property that it's on. This is the mobile home that's on this property, and you are detitling it. You're taking it from a VIN title to combining them together to where it's permanently affixed to the property, and that's what you need to make it financeable.
Holy crap, I know I did.
On the tax record and according to the state, it has to be part of the property, and that's part of, when you get a loan on it, they know that that mobile home is on that property. You're getting a loan for all of it together.
So just because it's on a permanent foundation doesn't actually mean that its paperwork follows that trail where it's actually attached.
Yes. So you want to make, it's good to see that it's attached.
It's good to what? I'm sorry.
It's good to see that it's attached, because then well, I can make this house maybe FHA approved if it's done properly. So the Deer Meadow one, we sold it FHA.
Really?
So we had to detitle it. We knew it was on a permanent foundation. We fully renovated it. We worked on detitling it, and then we put it up cash conventional FHA, and then sold it FHA.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So it is possible with the right lender.
Okay. So all in all, when sellers call in and they say, I've got a property, come look at it. If we go out there and look at it and it is a modular, it is a mobile home, this isn't a deal breaker. This is still something that we can take and we can make some things happen with it. and still sell it to nice end buyers at comparable prices to regular houses.
Yeah. Well, not fully comparable. So like if,
Well, I mean, I think 150 to 200,000 is comparable prices to regular houses.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like, it's more like 100, you know, 85 to $115 a square foot versus what if it was stick built, you could sell it for 230 a square foot or 130 a square foot. So it's a little bit cheaper, but it's more affordable. And you know that right now we are absolutely in need of homes. And this is a way of providing an affordable home that is financeable for this first time home buyer or the person that's on a budget. There's very hard to find. Our Knoxville area average price range is $250,000. It's really hard to find something that's under $200,000 that's affordable and a nice product. So this is a way of creating that for end buyers.
I absolutely love it. What are some questions that we could ask our sellers to find out more about the property or anything about it? Or what are some questions that people ask you when that I've missed?
Yeah.
When we're looking at modulars and mobiles? And what is okay, so you said earlier that trailer is not what we're supposed to call them.
Yeah.
What's the proper way to say this? A manufactured home?
Just overall, I would just call it all manufactured homes. So in that way, you don't really know, is this a modular or is this a manufactured? But at least you're saying that's just kind of like the category of all of it.
Okay. And another thing I thought of, you've looked at some duplexes that are actually modulars too. How's that going?
It is hard to find land, unrestricted land that you can put it on, and also just trying to figure out logistically, because we've been building this new construction, like full stick built new construction, and the other flips that we've been doing of how to squeeze it in our schedule. So we're working on it, but we have a lot of like personal things that we're working through. I know it's been like 6 months that we've been talking about it, but
in general though, I didn't know until you told me they make modulars that are actually duplexes. So if somebody had some land, instead of putting a single on it, you could put a duplex on it. Or do they do triplexes or quads or second floors? I mean, because they do some fancy stuff with these guys now.
There's even other companies like Champion, forgot what it's called, but it's like up north, where they do like full multifamily apartment complexes. And they're bringing
in a factory, then move it in?
They're bringing it in and stacking them, and it takes a lot of work, but the benefit is your cost of framing and building on site is less because you're doing it in a factory. But the cost of delivering it and craning it and setting it is pretty expensive. So when you really think about how far away are they going to have to travel, that's kind of where the cost comes up a little bit. But it's definitely an option.
You mentioned the crane. My mom's pastor bought a modular from Clayton and had some land that he put it on. And we went over there and watched it because I'm a nerd. We watched him take it from the crane, put it on the crane and move it to the actual permanent foundation. And that was awesome. If anybody gets a free day or two and you can go watch them crane these things from the truck to the foundation, there's a lot of stuff going on.
So that's a manufacturer because do you see that they're taking it off the frame that was on the trailer? They're taking it off the trailer and setting on the foundation. If it was left on the trailer and then the foundation was finished around it, and it was two trailers without pulling off what was under it, like the metal frame guts, that stays with the house, that is when a modular. So that's a good example, just showing the difference between the two.
That would be a mobile, right? If they leave the guts, it's a mobile.
Yep. Mobile. Sorry.
It's all
good. So, even the guy that works for Clayton, like I'm just asking him these things and just trying to get a better idea. He's like, basically, manufactured homes, and that's the main difference. He's like, don't call them trailers. And there's also a thing of the age of it. So, and I cannot remember the age. There's this limit of detitling. So like older, I think it was 19. I'm going to Google it. Hold on.
Kind of like is it 78 or 79 and you need the lead-based paint disclosures? Something kind of like that? I love this whole conversation. I've learned a ton here.
Thanks. Yeah, 1976. So
Ooh.
basically, if it was built before 1976,
And what about it if it was built before 1976?
I'm looking it up. It's hard to get loans on them.
Oh, and it's the same. It's 1978 or 79 with lead-based paint. So there's something going on in the 70s. Some
Yeah.
laws were written
Yeah.
that regulated real estate, and we're still living with it 40 years later.
Yep. So that's also when you can look at a sticker, you can see the year, also look at the tax record. If you look at the tax record and the tax record says it's just land and there's no home there, but you go and show up and like, there's a mobile home here, that's when you know it's not detitled. So that mobile home is not attached to the property and you have a few extra paperwork to do, and it should probably take you just a few weeks, depending on how busy your state is, but maybe a month to get that figured out.
It's possible, but you'll have to work with your title company or your attorney to really make sure that you take title to that piece of the deal. But it's possible.
You don't want to just buy the land. You want to make sure that you're buying, that you're getting that title when you're buying the land and the title, because you're getting possession of all of it.
So one lady in FTDF Plus right now is buying, she's got a lake property under contract. We're going to wholesale it, I'm pretty sure. There's an RV on it, like an actual travel trailer on it. Do you know anything about that? How do you get title to that puppy?
Well, I think that would just be like you would get the title and they would sign it over to you, right?
Get a bill of sale. I was treating it like, I used to sell dump trucks, and I was treating it like a dump truck because it's personal property. It's not real property. You know, real property is land and, attached to the land, assuming a hurricane doesn't come through and remove it from the land, it's actually attached. But like a travel trailer is personal property. You could personally move that. Well, maybe not me personally, but my husband could personally move that without having any extra equipment or anything. So personal property would be like your car, your truck, your airstream, your boat, all of that is personal property. I learned about this in auction school. But real property is really there, and you can't just pick it up and move it. I mean, I've seen the Amish move a barn, but you don't just do that a lot. It's actually attached to it and it stays forever and ever. Amen. That's real property versus personal property. So if you got an RV, a travel trailer, a camper, I think you get the green title and you can just transfer the name on the back of the title just like it was a car.
So let's talk about tiny homes.
Ooh, yeah, let's talk about tiny homes.
There's the people that buy the trailer that they do it and they're building these tiny homes in their backyard. There's a difference between, so Clayton Homes has tiny homes and they're actually called park models. So that park models are actually the small, tinier, not a single wide, but they're smaller. You can put them on a personal vehicle and take it wherever. So park models are smaller ones. So they're not campers, they're houses that you can personally travel. So they're very like tiny homes, but there's special code. And I've been looking into this because my sister has a tiny home and she wants this. There's a difference. There's tiny homes on permanent foundations. Those are micro homes. So there's certain counties that you need to find out, can you accept tiny homes? And if they say no tiny homes, no RVs on its own land, then say, will you accept micro homes? So micro homes are tiny homes built on a permanent foundation in the county. They'll approve those if their zoning will allow that. So there's a huge difference of that. But your tiny homes there's restrictions on that if they're a reputable tiny home builder, that they need to build to a certain code. And they're building to RV code, which is, I think it's called, hold on.
Hey, I have a very small lot in the city, and I spent a good afternoon with the codes enforcer for the city of Knoxville saying, well, can I do this or can I do that? And he was telling me that the dimensions of this lot that I have, if I got a single wide, it would have to go long ways, like hot dog style instead of hamburger style on my lot, because my lot isn't wide enough with the offset offsets and stuff to put a single wide on it. But there's a chance, depending on how I stacked it and spaced it, I could get 2 tiny homes. Now I'm going to have to call him and ask him about micro homes. We're just making up stuff now, and they're going to have to make up new laws to deal with it.
Basically, micro homes are less than 800 square foot permanent foundation homes that are built. So also hard to find a builder that would be willing to build an 800 square foot tiny home on a permanent foundation, because you also have to pull all the right codes, because it's attached to the property. You have to pull the permits and fully like inspect it from your local building codes. So tiny homes are IRC code, which is what RVs are. So when people are building tiny homes, they're getting inspected by the state for building that for traveling. So like if someone was building an RV and also building a tiny home to be able to travel, they have the same code. So it's really confusing, but tiny homes are, I think we're going to see that in the future of people trying to buy tiny homes and wanting to figure out, how do you make them financeable? How do you take title of it when someone built it in their backyard? So if it has a title, a green title, just sign it over like it would be a car, because it's like you said, it's a personal property. So you get the title of that's very hard to get a loan on. If you have someone brand new building it on a permanent foundation, that is financeable because it's on a permanent foundation. It's gone through all the right codes, and it's just an affordable tiny home.
I got to tell you, I say this all the time. I say it on every podcast, about every video I do. There's thousands of ways to make money in real estate investing, but I'm pretty sure you just gave us 5 new ways to make money in real estate.
So one more thing about options for mobile homes of what to ask the seller. Ask them if they own it free and clear, because they could be owner financing it to you. That would be probably the best route. I know you talk about owner financing all the time. So if you can get it owner finance, or if you can just buy it cash and owner finance it to someone else, that is a huge opportunity to make money, because people want to owner finance things, especially right now when their credit's bad and they need help with all of that stuff. So definitely see if it's paid for.
We skimmed over your first deal, but give me a recap on it.
Oh, so my first car that my parents got me when I was 16, I drove it till I was 18, and I got it stuck in a hail damage, or it got hail damage from a tornado storm. And instead of it was totally drivable, but technically from the insurance company, they said it was totaled. So I chose to get a check instead of getting a new car. And I took that check and told my papa I wanted to invest in real estate, and asked if he had any suggestions or what he could do. So my papa was the type of person that he just knows everybody, and actually like got me connected with buying this mobile home for what my check was. And then I turned around and owner financed it to somebody, and then paid, they didn't pay the mortgage, so I foreclosed on them, and then did it again and again, and I still have it. And now when I showed it to you, it was a rental, but we were transitioning, so now we're owner financing it again to somebody for like $550 a month.
So tell me, how much did you pay for it?
$8,000.
And how many times have you owner financed it?
3, and then I had it as a rental one time.
When you sell it on owner financing, how much are you selling it for?
$55,000. Because it's owner finance, but it's, that it was a really, really good deal for the price. And this was, 2013.
There's still deals out there. My point is, for $8,000 or $10,000, you could go buy something. It might be a trailer. It might be a mobile. It might be a modular. It might be something else. It might not be where you want to live. Did you ever live in it?
No. Oh, no, you saw it. No,
okay.
It was not like this. It is a single wide, and it needs a lot of work. And every time we would transition, we would have to go in and we've replaced the roof. We've did all new decks and flooring. And so we've done work to it other than the initial purchase. But yeah, so we've spent more. We're making money, but we have updated it as time has gone past.
but it doesn't have to be something that you want to move into. It could be a good deal, even if it needs $5,000 or $10,000 work. Say you got 20 in it, you sold it 3 times for 50 and you still have it.
Yep.
You've made cash flow on it since 2013. You've sold it with, non-refundable option fees with down payments. You've made your investment back on it and you still have it. And that's my whole point. It doesn't take $100,000 or $200,000 to get started. There's going to be deals out there. Yeah, that deal was 7 years ago. There's still deals out there that if you could come up with a chunk of money, you could get into something and then be creative on how you're going to sell it or rent it or whatever. And it doesn't have to be something that you want to move into. You can buy it, make money on it, and that's totally fine.
Yeah. And the first person, he was willing, he was interested in it as is because he wanted to do all the work and he just couldn't make up the payments and his work was not the best. So then we came in and started updating it every time. But it's definitely been a good deal. And it was a good experience from the beginning to really understand what the opportunity is with mobile homes. And now it's just a niche that I work in.
And you're great at it. I love it. You're doing awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for all of your wisdom. If anybody has any questions, how can they get in touch with you?
I haven't been on social media, but I'm about to start posting more stuff, like finally going to be on it again. But my Instagram, I think it's growing_up. Basically, for spaces, it's _ growing up in real estate. And then on Facebook, it's just Kendra Green Ellis. And then we're going to do Nice Flipping Homes is our company that we flip houses with. And that's what we're going to start sharing our story a little bit more on.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see it. It's good to see you again, and I'll see you next week.
Awesome. Bye.
Thank you. Y'all don't forget to subscribe. If you're watching the video, subscribe. If you are listening on the podcast, then don't forget to subscribe. We talk all about real estate all the time on She Buys It podcast. In fact, I may put this out on the Knoxria podcast too when we get that started. Yeah, sure. Good idea, Whit. Okay. Bye, y'all.